All right, well, thanks everyone for downloading my Profit First Calculations spreadsheet, as well as, well, that's it. That's all you downloaded. And as part of that, as I promised, this is a video that walks you through what I've done and how to use this spreadsheet here. And so we're going to start with this. This is will help you understand if you're in the right ballpark or not with your Profit First calculations. So. And this is really, this section right here, this spreadsheet is intended for people who their personal expenses and their business expenses are really out of whack. In other words, maybe your personal expenses are higher. Maybe you're running the business really well, but you're not making enough money to pay your personal expenses, so you're taking more money out of the business than you should, which is stagnating your growth. Or alternatively, maybe your personal expenses are really low, but you're not really seeing a whole lot. Maybe they're low because you're not seeing a whole lot of profit from your business because your business expenses are too high. So if you are in a situation where you've got your personal expenses under control and your business expenses you're making enough money, but you feel like you're not taking a profit out, this isn't really for you. But if you feel like your business is not making enough to sustain your lifestyle, this is where this first spreadsheet or this first workbook here is going to be really helpful. So let's say you started with your personal expenses, and you know that your personal monthly expenses are $5,000. And if you have some savings goals, or maybe you want to pay off debt, you can put that in here as well. And then so what this is going to do, it's going to calculate numbers based on the allocations that are in the other workbook that I'm about to show you. And so this shows that if your business expenses are, or if your personal expenses are $5,000, $5,250 a month, you need to generate $10,500 a month from your business. In other words, to meet your revenue or your expense goals for your business of $3,675. Hopefully that makes sense. It makes sense to me, but other people may look at this, and you can manipulate this. And if you manipulate this and you change it around and you make it something really cool, please let me know and I'd be happy to share it. But anyway, now let's go through and let's say your business expenses right now are $6,000 a month. Well, then you know you're in trouble because you have about $2,000 that you need to trim from your business expenses to get to this number right here that's actually available for your business, so that you can make that. Or alternatively, you can trim this number, and let's say your personal expenses are too high, you can trim this down to put yourself in a better position. And so you're going to be cutting one or the other. Now this, if you know you want to keep, if you want to keep this around 10,000, 10,500, then you're going to need to keep this monthly number up. The way I suggest you use this is you look at your reasonable personal expenses, like what's your baseline minimum that you need to earn, or that you need to have available to you, and then that's where you should plan off of, if that makes sense. So if you say, you know what, the minimum we can get away with is $5,000 a month. I've got a spouse, we've got some kids, we can't really spend less than $5,000 a month. Hey, people that are in the FIRE lifestyle, fixed income, retire early, I know you're probably gasping at this, but I'm going to the masses here. So there are people that get away with spending, $1,000, $2,000 a month. I'm not. Maybe that's your case. If that's the case, you're in a different ballpark. You're probably not watching this video. But so let's say you need baseline $5,000 to live off of. You can't really go beneath that. Well, then you know for your business, you either need to make a whole lot more money so that you increase the amount of money that is available for expenses, or you need to cut your expenses to the tune of around $2,000 here in this example. So let's say your monthly business expenses are $4,000, maybe more reasonable. Well, you only need to cut $325 a month, and then you're okay. Otherwise, you're kind of going to the red, and you're probably accruing debt. So that's what this section over here is for. That's what this number for is. If your business is healthy, you don't need this worksheet, but this really helps you understand what your baseline should be. And this also, you can play around with this because maybe you want to change your expense estimate. If your expenses are a lot lower and you want to take out more profit, you can change that around as well. So here's the profit force estimate. So let's say, now this is not my number. This is some dummy numbers I was working with before. And so what I do here is I put the date in, March 10th, and then we come over here, and if you go to your budget sheet here in YNAB, if you've never used YNAB before, you're not sure what I'm doing here, here's the basic premise of YNAB. Excuse me. You get this money available, and this is the money you have available up here to budget, $7,500. What most people do is, I'll close this, they go down to all these different obligations and expenses they have. Excuse me, should not be drinking LaCroix before I do a talk here. And they start allocating. You know, they need, let's say they need $1,500 for their mortgage, or not 15,000, 1,500, and they need, you know, $100 for electric, and they need $150 for water. And then they start putting all these in, and then before you know it, they've allocated all their money in their budget. Now this is their personal, this is the business budget. So I in my business, I do have a water bill, I do have an electric bill that I have to pay, and I do have a rent payment. So before, what I'm suggesting is, if you're going to use YNAB, before you do any of that, you need to run these numbers through the profit first calculator up here. And basically what you're going to do is, so let's say you get $7,500 in income, and then that's going to tell you, okay, I have $375 I'm going to put into my profit, $375, and then my owner's pay, I'm going to have $3,750, and then my taxes, I'm going to have 10%, not 10%, $750. And then I'm going to have $2,625 for my operating expenses. And then what you're going to do is all the money that's over here should total the amount that's in your accounts. And then what you can do is you go into your operating account, and you're going to transfer $375 to the profit account. And so we'll go and transfer to the profit account, $375, and then you're going to transfer $3,750 to the owner's pay, and then you're going to transfer $750 to the tax, and then that's going to leave you with $2,625 in your operating account, which is the same that's available right here. And then you can take that money, and let's say you need to you can move let's say 1,000 to rent, and then you can start allocating different things here. So then if you want this $100 or $150 from water, don't worry, I'm going to cover this here in a second. And let's say 75 from your internet, and you know, whatever. Let's say you just get miscellaneous. You've got another 1,000, not groceries. It's going to be something else. Office expenses. And then what you're going to do is you're going to cover that with your operating expense budget here. And so now you've got $300 left for operating expenses, and you've allocated all your money to where it should be. That's how I basically use Profit First and YNAB in conjunction. And then when you take money out of your owner's pay, so let's say you take a draw and you pay yourself, Jim Hart, and you're going to take it from the owner's pay category, and I'm going to take a draw of $3,000, write a check to myself, and then you come over into your budget, and it'll show you've took that $3,000 out, you've got $750 left in your owner's pay. And this is really great also if you're using independent contractors. So for example, you know, I have an attorney that works for me, so you can make an independent contractor column, and this person gets they get 75% of what they bring in. So if I have, let's say I have a client who comes in and they pay me, we'll go back here to, and see, notice how this is zeroed out. So on the 10th and 25th, you zero this out. That's the way it works. So let's say I have a client that comes in and they paid me, let's say $1,000. And then we go back into the budget. I know of that $1,000, I need to allocate $750 here to this independent contractor, and then when I run payroll at the end of the month, I'm going to pay him his $750. That leaves me $250 here. Go back into here, put in the $250. We're going to update the date. Let's say now we're on March 25th. There's been other payments as well, but let's say this is the only one. Then you're going to go back into profit, and you're going to add $12.50, and then you're going to go into owner's pay, and you're going to add $125, and then you're going to go into taxes, and you're going to add $25, and then operating is going to be $87.50. And then you're going to zero that back out, and here's how much money you've got left for all the different expenses and things you need to do. And then when you pay taxes, you're going to write a check to the government for $775. When you do your operating expenses, you've got that available. And then at the end of the quarter, you're going to take your profit distribution just the way they tells you to, which is half of this. And so you're always leaving some money in the business in case you need it for a rainy day. But there you go. That's basically the idea. That's how I use this program, this system. I've got listed in here, we've got goal numbers. So this may be where you want to be. I've got where you are currently, and maybe you want to change. And so you can play around with this, do different things, but that's basically it. That's how I run Profit First for my business, and with in conjunction with YNAB. By the way, I will say I also have a bookkeeper who does all my QuickBooks. So this is not to take the place of a bookkeeper by any stretch, but there you have it. So hopefully that's helpful to you.